Thanks, Tim. So, I've been in this field for many years, and we've been, sharing telematics for many years now. Video telematics seems to be in a different, um, I guess, growth phase. So, just sharing some insights here. 95% of all crashes are due to human behavior, which I'm sure doesn't shock anyone on this call. And then phone usage and texting increases the collision risk by 6 to 12 fold, which is, I'm sure, not shocking. This is all data from NHTSA, which you'll find there's a link here, and we'll share this deck. With those on this to the group. And then there's people injured in 2023 is 325,000, and premiums for insurance or insurance costs are up by 12.5%. I'm sure that's nationally. I'm sure it's a little bit more in California, and depending on what city you reside. And 35 with video and driver coaching and behavior, we can help reduce, or video can help reduce, whether us or somebody else, up to 35% reduction in crashes with injuries. So significant reduction there, which coincides with helping maybe reduce your out of pocket expenses with liabilities. So reducing claims, aid driver training, improving driver safety, um, defend potential litigation. Right now, with just a telematics piece, just the telematics Go device, you'll get accident reconstruction. You know if someone is in an accident, what their RPM was, when they were engaged, how fast they were going. You'll have all that for court, but you won't have the behind the scenes, like to actually see what happened. So that's something that'll add to helping reduce any litigation. And then collision repairs and costs. If you can help coach each supervisor manager coach better, making sure people are wearing their seatbelt, which some vehicles will do that today. The newer vehicles will tell you just without video if a seatbelt's engaged or not. But this will actually, if you have cab facing, will actually show you and report on that if they're not wearing their seatbelt. And then just from the public sector side, where I see video right now is in the early growth phases. Um, when you're working with telematics as a GPS, I think the policies have been adopted. It's in the mature process. Everyone has heard of GPS or knows about GPS, and it's not shocking like it was 10 plus years ago. And is now opening the doors for more and more about video telematics. I've also seen from an agency standpoint, and those, I don't know if everyone on this call is using, whether it's Geotab or something else, or doesn't use GPS today or telematics. I see more departments engaged now outside of just fleet or public works, also engaging more with risk and compliance or risk and safety, where if they can showcase that their entire fleet is using telematics and or video, they can get a reduction in their premiums. And then one thing I've been vocal on, I know there's others from Geotab on this call, is echoing what we're hearing from our customers to our product team. And one of that being they want options. Our customers want, and dealing with HR and unions, they don't want just they don't want a cab facing camera. They want a road only facing camera. Even if we put a cap on the cab or tell them that it's not recording, they still can't have it there at all. So we have options, and we've listened, and I think you'll see that here as I present the rest of this deck. So there's two cameras. The first ones are Go Focus, which is an AI dash cam. This is the picture of it right here. This is the front and the rear. You'll see that there's absolutely no camera. It's very easy to install. It's a simple pairing and calibration. It plugs right into the Go device. AI is built into this camera, as well as on our server side. You can also, if you're tying into any IOX is for PTOs. If you want to know if a booms up, booms down, if you're using a sweeper, a brush is on, a brush is off. We can tie into six with this camera. It has an embedded memory. but it's not something anyone can extract from the camera itself. So it's all embedded and encrypted on the hardware. Video footage, you can go. It's actually changed now. It's 10 seconds before or after that you can create. Some people just want 5 seconds. They want a quick image, and that's it. Prior or pre and post incident. And this is where you would select these. These are from an ADAS, it's Advanced Driver Assisted Systems. And this is for things that you can collect right now on this ADAS model, which is a very just road facing, a minor collision, a major collision, tailgating or close following, which you can adjust. So if you want it a farther distance from the vehicle in front or closer, based on what you find within your policy. And then you have that incident capture button, which I showed you on the prior slide, that red button, which could be used if someone from street services is driving down the street and sees a tree fallen after a storm. They can press that button, capture it. It'll then flag that, notify others. You'll know the GPS coordinates. It could be done for road signs, potholes, whatever it is that you want. That's generated by the driver, not generated by the lens of the camera, which there's options there as well as we move into this, as you explore the other cameras. Every event is associated to the trips. So you can go in if there's a tailgating event, all the tailgating events or an accident would be on that trip that you can go by and see. And then I'll show you later the reports that we have based on type of event and the severity of the event. If there's a what's called a Geotab smart sequence, and we'll share the most, reduce all the noise and show you the ones of most critical impact. This is an example of a vehicle that departs from a lane. They should have been driving slower and not yielded into the left lane. An example of coaching and safety, because maybe a driver was there on the left that could have caused an accident. So moving on to the next camera is our Go Focus Plus. It also has an event trigger inside, so the driver can press a button if she or him sees something that needs to be documented. It also has the ability to do live streaming and continuous recording if needed. It also has a built-in microphone with in-cab alerts and coaching, if that's something you would like to do, whether it's now or in the future. It is AI driven, so both calibrated and on the device as well as in the cloud. So we can program the device to do AI coding that can help with certain things, like if you want to do potholes or such, this camera can pick up and detect that. So on the left side here, these are all telematics focused, harsh braking, hard acceleration, speeding, fault codes. That's all the stuff that gets on the telematics device. Now, when I'm talking, cameras is something that you're getting more personal. You're seeing video in front of the vehicle if it's road facing. You also have the ability to do driver facing or cab facing. That is also tying into who's driving that asset. So I have customers, and we have customers that they just know how that asset is being utilized. If that asset was in an accident, but they don't know who was driving that asset. So there's layers or levels that you can explore, where the Geotab device here can have an NFC reader on there, where you swipe a box and who's driving that vehicle. So you actually can coach on the driver of that vehicle. You don't see a picture of that vehicle, or the driver of that vehicle. You don't see the road of that vehicle, but you know who's driving that vehicle, which you'll get all the metrics here on the traditional telematics elements, as well as who's driving. If you move into video, we can scale with you. You can just see forward facing or road facing and still not know who that driver is, or you can get into where you want to know where that driver is, which we can tie into and actually marry into the camera itself. So the camera itself can do this and help if that's something you can, whether it's today or a year from now or 2 years from now. And video telematics for road facing is obviously more tailgating, swerving, harsh cornering, collision. And then you get into where seatbelt, distractions, the drinking, the phone usage, all of that eating. Those are things that we'll see on the cab side. Less friction on installing, very easy, auto pairing, self-calibrating, super easy to install, and we can install for you. Less false positives, whether and DMS is um, driver monitoring system. So that's more on the internal side, where ADAS is more external. You can put it that way. And then we're we're helping coach with AI. So we're using AI to help alleviate a lot of that pain from fleet managers or supervisors and other managers, where we help streamline content that's most relevant to your business purpose and help ensuring the safety of your fleet operations. Um, and then driver centric, proactive collision management, safety alerts to the driver. We also privacy is first in mind here, where we just have our road only facing camera, and then we have the ability with our dual facing camera to turn it off. And there's multiple ways we can manage that, which I'll show you here in a little bit. So driver assignment is something we can accomplish here. Smart sequence, which allows only to see the most critical um, events and prioritizing that on a dashboard for you, so you know what's the most critical that you need to be aware of. So really taking away a lot of the noise. Coaching automation, you can create all the rules and coach how you want to coach your drivers to ensure you reduce your exposure to risk of distracted driving and tailgating. And then these coaching sessions will help you on areas of improvement. So as you see trends, right? If you see somebody's always doing a California roll, if they're constantly talking on their phone while driving or texting, these are things that you could really see the trend and where we need to spend more time coaching. The top part here is an example of a NFC A, B, and RFID, where you could just tap in and go on your way. So if you don't want to use any facial recognition, you could do it all by an ID, and then still know who's driving that asset, and get that road-facing visibility of the device. Option two, you could do facial recognition on that device, and it will, after you do that facial recognition, it'll constantly associate that individual to every event. And this is a key value add of our Go Focus Plus device versus just from an industry standard. A lot of solutions, you have to take an image or take a picture of their driver's license and implant that into the system, and then associate that to into the system for that driver recognition. In our system, once we get that first facial recognition of, let's say, I get into a vehicle, the camera notices it's me, takes a snapshot. If I assign that as Drake in the system, you can program it to auto assign that to every event that I am a match for. So all future events that I drive that vehicle, it'll automatically populate me as my name, since they knows my image on all those vehicles. So it's a really easy way to manage the system with really easy uptime. And this is all something that you can enable or not enable. This is the advanced driver assistance system, so more of the ADAS in short. Tailgating, rolling stop, near collision, defensive driving, all things that you can monitor. And then more of the driver monitoring, if somebody is texting while driving, seatbelt is not detected, eating or drinking, or they're a repeat offender, you can actually send a notice to the driver and set those thresholds. If this happens more than once, we need to start communicating via the in-cab voice. And then this is where we help simplify the coaching, where we get all this input, all this feedback that we're getting from the field from coaching. We analyze it through AI modeling, and then you can tailor it based on what's important to your fleet and the safety of your fleet. And then it prioritizes by critical events. You can review the full footage. You can personalize driver training by individual or by vehicle class, if it's heavy duty versus light duty or transit. And you can log notes in the driver's history, so you know that you actually can audit that a manager or supervisor spoke to that individual, so you have that as an audit trail. And then your trend analysis. What seems to be trending right now? What are more people in violation of, so you can help reduce that exposure to risk. So almost finished here, but view events by score, AI trends, rolling stops, increase of 15% in the last 14 days. Understand why that's happening, and then the spotlight of events that are highest, most critical to the safety of your drivers, and the residents in your city or county. Now, there's in-cab, we have privacy options, which is very important to public sector. You have disable in-cabin camera, so you completely disable it if you're using the dual camera. You can also disable the audio, so the audio is not even used. And then you even have the option of putting a cap over the camera. So disabling the camera and putting a cap on the camera. So if you ever want to enable it, or you negotiate with your union or HR, like, hey, I want dual facing, but I don't want to use it I might not be able to use it for 6 months or a year. I want to make sure the policy's right. You maybe negotiate that, and you can walk before you run. And then we have a camera that's only road facing. That's the only thing it can do. So you don't have to worry about anything driver ID facing. And then this is another one, lens as a sensor. So we also have the ability for distracted monitoring, to not put a cap on the lens that's cab facing, but it will never show the driver, but can detect if they're distracted while driving. So it won't show an image of the driver, but it will detect that. And if you really want to see it, there's ways you can pull that information, but it's not going to show on the immediate footage. And this is an example. You're showing the driver. The driver will not see that they're being seen, but it still creates events and voice alerts if they're doing anything that shows distraction. And you put the rules on what is considered distraction. But at default, none of that is applied to the camera itself. So by default, the cameras come, not showing cab facing or audio, but can adhere. So I'm gonna look and see if there's any questions. I'm just very excited that we can finally learning from the market what's important to public sector in terms of privacy, and we finally have two options that I think can meet all the requirements and some and more of what public sector fleets demand, and a really good entry with only the road facing.
I haven't seen any questions in the chat, but if anybody would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. We can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question, or put the question in the chat.
All right, without further ado, I will pass it on to Dan Cattleman, who will be reviewing Geotab altitude. Thank you, everybody.